Welcome back to The Learning Gardener. My name is Pip and this is a project I completed yesterday. I have recently had a small arm surgery, and because I scar terribly, I'm trying to keep my arm as still as possible. So I thought a small project like this might be perfect to keep me entertained while I'm resting my arm. So as you can see, I've only got 2 little planters here. I would like to get a third because it'll fit in perfectly here, but because I'm in a coastal area, you might even be able to see the ocean behind me. We get really high winds here and I wasn't sure if they were actually going to stay put and safely balance on the balcony, so I didn't want to buy a whole bunch of planters that I then wouldn't be able to use. They also only had 2 of these particular ones in stock. These particular planters fit quite firmly onto the balcony rails. They don't wobble at all in the wind. And I think some of that is due to this little support prop that they have down the side. They also have these little clips which help secure the pot and the frame, and it just makes it that much more stable. And that's why I decided to go for these pots, even though they are small and barely 6 inches deep. We have had a lot of rain recently, and what I mean by a lot of rain is 3 floods in under 6 weeks. So Sydney and the south coast where I live, we've had over 1,200 mils of rain in the last 5 or 6 weeks, which is insane. And during one 6-hour period, we got a quarter of our month's rain, and we've already exceeded our annual rainfall average, which is pretty crazy because we did that before the end of March. And so what that meant is that when I needed basil, or when I needed some coriander, or when I needed some parsley, it was a pain in the backside to go out in the storm and wade through the water to get what I needed. And so I thought if I had some hanging boxes that were able to be secured properly on the balcony, that then I could just duck out and grab what I needed. And we are halfway through autumn, so what I can plant and what will actually thrive is a little bit limited. And I always find that rosemary is a very slow grower, so I have put in 2, and I put in these lettuce seedlings because my lettuce that I planted out the back is being mauled by a cabbage moth, which originally I thought they were a beautiful butterfly that was being drawn to all the pollinator friendly flowers that I had planted, and I was so proud of myself. But I'm about to go and pull out my cauliflower because they're too far gone. So I figured at least if I planted some lettuce here, I might actually get some. It's a little bit easier for me to protect, and Rafa likes to hang around here and he really likes chasing flies and moths, so at least he'll keep them away. I have also got a little thyme plant back here. I don't really use a lot of thyme in my cooking, but every so often I need some, and I don't actually think I have any out in the veggie patch, so this seemed like a great spot to put it in, even though I know it can go a bit out of control, or my mum's thyme has anyway, so I figured putting it in a smaller pot might help control it a little bit more. This spot is actually in a peak wind flow area, so I'm going to have to water it regularly, which is fine because the door is right there, but it also gets sun until about 2 p.m. and that's purely because of where the sun has changed its rising position to now that we've kind of moved across into the next season, and that means that these guys are getting a little bit more sun than they would have during summer. So I don't know how my planters will go in summer. That's another problem. I'll worry about that when we get there, but for now these guys are getting a good 6+ hours of sunlight a day. I planted some sage and basil seeds in here, hoping that by the time the lettuce is ready to harvest, those plants will have actually started to pop up, and the removal of the lettuce will actually give them a little bit of room to thrive. I did also plant some beet seeds in here, not because I think that they will be particularly happy in this spot, but because my dog has attacked some of my beet seedlings and slugs have attacked the other ones. And actually some recent windstorms have flattened the rest. So I want to try and get some beets, and because my rosemaries never seem to grow very big, I thought, well, why not? I sprinkled in a few chive seeds and also some chamomile seeds, and I really like the chamomile flowers. My chamomile elsewhere in the garden got swamped by my cosmos, so I was just kind of hoping I could have a few lovely little flowers up here where I could easily see them from the kitchen. I'm not much of a tea drinker, but you never know, someone might want to try them. It will be interesting to see how these goes because La Nina is not over for us yet, and we've got more rain forecast, and the roof is a little bit run down, and I think some water will cascade off them, but at least if they're just here I can quickly pop them off and bring them inside if necessary. But it's still going to be interesting to see how these hold up and how they cope with coastal winds, and I'm really happy with how they turned out. It's going to be interesting to see what comes of it and how I find having a little herb stash so close to the kitchen. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.
Raffy, is that where you've been digging? In the fire? Oh, darling. That's for the compost bin in the garden, not for Raffy.